let's dive into a really fascinating and honestly a pretty dark what-if. We're going to explore how just one single choice could have taken a hero we all know and love and twisted him into something much, much more dangerous.
Okay, so we all think we know who the big bad of the story is, right? But what if the greatest threat, the most dangerous wizard of them all, wasn't Voldemort? What if it was actually the hero himself, just one bad day, one wrong turn away from a totally different path?
And here's what's so chilling about this whole idea. This isn't about some big, dramatic, evil transformation. No, the theory goes that this slide into darkness would be gradual. It would happen with a series of small, logical, almost understandable choices that just lead somewhere awful.
So where does a path like that even begin? Well, it all hinges on one single moment, one decision that could have changed absolutely everything: the sorting ceremony.
You know, the Sorting Hat's hesitation wasn't just for dramatic effect. It saw something real in Harry. The seeds for Slytherin were already there. He was resourceful. He had nerve. He had this incredible hunger to prove he was more than the boy in the cupboard. And yeah, he knew how to keep a secret.
And boom, that one choice creates this massive fork in the road. Down the Gryffindor path, he immediately finds a best friend in Ron, he finds community, and he's celebrated as a hero. But on that Slytherin path, that lifeline is just gone. Instead of friendship, he gets isolation. Instead of being welcomed, he's viewed with suspicion from day one.
That Slytherin path leads to the first and maybe the most critical consequence of all, this profound soul-crushing loneliness.
I mean, think about it. In the story we know, Harry meets Draco and basically tells him to get lost. Why? Because he already has an alternative. He has Ron. But take Ron out of the picture. Suddenly, Draco Malfoy's offer of friendship, as smug as it is the only one on the table.
And there's this concept for this pull. It's called social gravity. And it's not about being weak or evil. It's about a basic human need. When you are completely and utterly alone, you will naturally gravitate towards anyone at all, who offers you a place to belong.
You can just see how it would play out, step by step. First, there's the isolation. That creates this desperate need for connection. Malfoy sees an opening and offers Harry a spot in his circle. And then, the slow, gradual adaptation begins. You start laughing at their jokes. You learn when to stay quiet. You make little compromises, day by day.
At the end of the day, it really just boils down to this. The road to hell isn't always paved with evil intentions. Sometimes, it starts with something so simple, so painfully human, like a lonely kid who just wants a place to sit in the Great Hall.
Okay, so Harry finds his group, but he's still Harry, right? He's still a good person deep down. Well, this is where things get really unsettling. Because in this new environment, all of Harry's greatest strengths, they start to look like something else entirely.
See, in Gryffindor, his courage is seen as heroic, but in Slytherin, without Ron and Hermione to ground him, that same courage just looks like dangerous impulsivity. His incredible loyalty doesn't go away, but it shrinks, twisting into a cunning, almost tribal protection of only his own. And his willingness to break the rules for a good cause? Well, that curdles into a very dangerous ends justify the means way of thinking.
And who's there to guide him through all this? Not a kind, wise Dumbledore, not a caring Lupin. Nope, he gets his new head of house, Severus Snape. And their already complicated relationship would turn into a truly dark mentorship.
Snape isn't going to give him warm, fatherly advice. He's going to teach Harry his own brutal, hard-won lessons. That survival is everything, that being flashy gets you killed, and that real, true power is the kind that no one else ever sees. For a lonely, scared kid looking for a way to fight back, those bitter lessons might actually start to sound pretty smart.
So, you take all of that, the isolation, the dark friendships, the corrosive mentorship, and you let it simmer for 7 years. What do you get at the end? What does this version of Harry Potter finally become?
Here's the tragedy. He doesn't become a monster who cackles in a dungeon. He's still recognizable as Harry. At every single dark turn, he's making a choice that, from his point of view, feels understandable, even necessary. He's protecting himself. Then he's protecting his friends. Then maybe he's protecting the world. The only question is, what's the cost?
And that's the absolute key difference between him and Voldemort. Voldemort wants power for power's sake. It's about his own ego, his own immortality. This dark Harry, he'd want control for a totally different reason, for what he'd call protection. He believed that he's the only one strong enough, the only one willing to do what's necessary to keep everyone safe.
And that really gets to the heart of it, doesn't it? The most terrifying villain isn't the one who was born a monster. It's the one who could have been the greatest hero. And a part of him still believes that he is one, even as he's doing terrible things. That's what would make this Harry so profoundly dangerous.
Just think about how impossible that would be. How do you raise your wand against a Dark Lord when you remember him as the brave little boy who lived? People would hesitate. His old friends would try to save him. Dumbledore would see the good in him. And that doubt, that hope, that would be his greatest weapon. He'd be so much harder to stop than Voldemort, because he would literally weaponize everyone's love for him.
So I'll leave you with this one last haunting thought. We always assume the darkest timeline is the one where the villain wins. But what if the real darkest timeline is the one where the hero wins, but only by becoming a monster to do it?